Welcome to TWT Talks with Tito. This is Tito Medrano back for another episode, back in your life. So today we're going to talk about the AFC, NFC Divisional games. We're also going to talk about UFC 311. So we have a lot to talk about, so let's dive right in it. But before I talk about those two subjects, as promised, I did want to talk about the wild card game between the Rams and the Vikings. I didn't talk about that in the last episode, so I'm going to talk about it right now very briefly. The Rams won 27-9. Am I shocked? Am I surprised? No, I'm not. Here's what I think. Sam Darnold, great job. He did a great job this year for the Vikings, especially with the weapons that he has. Justin Jefferson, Addison, and Aaron Jones and Hackenson and all these other guys that are in the offense. When they beat the Packers, I think it was week 17, they're over here celebrating like they won the Super Bowl, bringing out champagnes, pouring it on Sam Darnold, and acting like they won something. Like, come on, you guys didn't even win the division. The Lions did. And what happened when you guys faced the Lions? You lost to the Lions in week 18. Then you faced the Rams. And, a lot of people were picking the Vikings. They're like, oh, the Vikings are going to beat the Rams. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, right now, the way that Matthew Stafford was playing, what he had, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and all these other weapons that he has, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I think the Rams are a better team, and I think they got a better defense. And they exposed the Vikings. And that happened, and Vikings got eliminated in the first round with 14 wins in the regular season. What I'm trying to get to is, it doesn't matter how good you are in the regular season. What matters is what you do in the postseason. Because in the postseason, it's win or go home. And they realized that real quick. And it's the same little energy they had when they had, back in 2021. Wait, was it 2021? No, 2022 when they won the division. Over here acting like, and what happened? They got eliminated by the Giants, and Kirk Cousins was their quarterback at the time. So I don't know why hopefully they humble themselves and realize that, you know what, this is the playoffs, bro. You got to get it together. Over here celebrating like you won something. You didn't win anything. You didn't even win the division. All right, let's get to the divisional games. Let's talk about the divisional games. All right, the divisional games. Saturday, we had Texans, Chiefs, Commanders, Lions. Let's talk about the Texans versus Chiefs. We all knew coming into this game in Arrowhead and Kansas City, the Chiefs were going to be the favorites. I'm not taking anything away from Patrick Mahomes and how they played. I don't like the fact that the referees are helping them out too much. Like, they barely touch Mahomes is a flag. A flag. They do fouls. They start grabbing on players' jerseys. The referees don't throw any flags there. But when the Chiefs, when they get hit, when they get touched, when they get any player, either Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, or any of the players from the Chiefs, they get touched or anything, the refs, flag. I'm like, really? Like, literally, one of the defenders of the Texans literally touched Mahomes, like tackled him, and they're over here acting like he did helmet to helmet, which is like, you serious right now? The Chiefs, they're clicking, they're winning, they won this game because they're the most experienced team in the playoffs right now. They've been there, done that. They're trying to three-peat. There's never been a team that's ever three-peat, and things are clicking right now with Patrick Mahomes, him and Travis Kelce too. We saw Taylor Swift in the audience, and the reality is this: let's make it an even playing field when the Chiefs play any team. Why are the refs so overprotected with the Chiefs? They don't do that with other teams. It feels like when the Patriots were the most hated team because, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. This feels like the new Patriots. The Chiefs are the new Patriots of this era. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, all these guys, that play for the Chiefs. We know they're looking for that dynasty, trying to three-peat. There hasn't been a team that has ever done it. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, when they were in the Patriots, they never did it. But at the same time, it's just like, yo, we're playing American football with tackles being included, or we're playing flag football, or we're playing two-hand touch. Because that's what it seems like when every time a team plays the Chiefs. But nevertheless, the Chiefs won this game 23-14. CJ Stroud did kind of struggle looking for those weapons. We knew he was going to struggle playing against the Chiefs because it's not the same thing playing against the Chiefs than it was playing with the Chargers. So the Chiefs are back to the AFC Championship again. Am I shocked? No, I'm not shocked. Am I going to be shocked if they go to the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. Definitely not going to be shocked if they make it to the Super Bowl. But yeah, moving on to the next game. The Commanders facing the Lions at Ford Field in Motown City, Detroit. We knew that Jalen Daniels was good. But did we realize that he was that good? He beat the Lions. The Lions lost this game because they did a lot of turnovers. People are going to say, oh, well, they didn't have the defense. They didn't have the majority of their defense was beat up. Yeah, but they still happened to win the division. They still happened to win 15 games. So we can't say the defense, yeah, they had a lot of defense players banged up. But we needed to see Jared Goff show up. And he struggled showing up. You know, we know Dan Campbell, he should win Coach of the Year. We saw how frustrated he was that they couldn't capitalize winning this game, because this was an important game for the Lions. You know, they were Super Bowl favorites coming into the season. You know, so a lot was on stake in this game. The Commanders, are shocking everyone right now. Jaden Daniels is having the best rookie season that a rookie can have, and I'm really excited to see what he does. San Bernardino native, as I said earlier, and Jaden Daniels, he's gonna go to the NFC Championship. I don't recall a rookie going to an NFC or AFC Championship in a long, long time. Imagine that guy goes straight to the Super Bowl. But we know that he has to face the Eagles. That's a different ball game. But the fact that they beat the best team in the NFC, the number one seed, that tells you everything about the Commanders. This team is for reals, and this team is willing to make a shocker out of everyone. And Jaden Daniels is going to get Rookie of the Year for sure. Can he get something bigger than that? That is the Super Bowl? We don't know. He still has to face the Eagles at the NFC Championship, which we're going to talk about the Eagles in a bit. But, man, this kid is for reals. As far as the Lions, where do they go from here? I mean, it's another tough pill to swallow for them. You know, they lost last year against the 49ers in the NFC Championship. This is another one. This one, I think, hurts more than last year's loss. So, we'll see where they go from there. Like I said, it's all about showing up in the postseason, not making mistakes, not making a lot of turnovers. Which is going to show up more? That's what it's all about in this postseason games. All right, moving on to the Sunday games. As I talked about them earlier, Eagles hosting the Rams. So the Eagles, I was a critic about them on how they played against the Packers. This time, I feel like the Eagles, it was all about the defense. Because both of these teams offensively are explosive. The Eagles are explosive, and the Rams are explosive. This came down to which defense is gonna put in more work, and which defense is gonna have the upper hand. I feel like the Eagles did a great job doing that. We know that Jalen Hurts, we saw that he had moments in that game where he turned it up. But also, I feel like, I keep saying it all the time, Saquon Barkley is just killing it. He's killing it in the running back position. I bet the Giants regret not giving him a contract. And now look at him. He's killing it with the rival, the Eagles. But the Giants aren't home, so they're not even worth talking about in this conversation. But Saquon Barkley, man, he's just killing it, man. You give that guy the ball, he runs with it. He's like a Sonic. And we didn't see a lot of Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, but, when you have Saquon Barkley as your running back, oh boy. Matthew Stafford got sacked a lot in this game. He did a good job looking for Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, but it wasn't enough to beat the Eagles. Oh, yeah, the Commanders beat the Lions 45-31. Forgot to mention that. And the Eagles beat the Rams 28-22. It was a very, very competitive game. I feel like this probably was the most competitive. No, wait, we'll get to the next game that was more competitive. It was a very competitive game. I feel that Jalen Hurts is doing a great job relying on the run game, but he has to step up because he's going to face Jalen Daniels and that Washington team. And these two are division rivals. So it's going to come down to who wants it more in that game. It's going to come down to who's going to do less turnovers and what defense is going to step up. The Eagles' defense stepped up for Jalen Daniels. Jalen Daniels has to step up for them now in the next game. And it's a great job that he's running the ball with Saquon. But Saquon Barkley can't do all the job. He can't do all the load for him. We got to see A.J. Brown. We got to see Devontae Smith. We got to see them be active in these kind of situations as well. But yeah, Eagles are going to go to the NFC Championship against the Commanders. The last time they were in the NFC Championship was 2 years ago, 2022. All right, moving on to me, this is the most important game of the divisional round. The Buffalo Bills hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. This came down to who wanted it more, and who was going to do the least mistakes in this game. And I know there's going to be pointing fingers. Yes, the Bills won 27-25. I know there's going to be pointing fingers that it was Lamar's fault. It was not Lamar's fault, first of all. Lamar played a good game. They were down 21-10, and, they scored a touchdown. It was 21-19. They were looking for the 2-point conversion. They couldn't get it. But, the Baltimore Ravens did not give out without a fight. I feel like the Bills just did what Josh Allen worked with the pieces that he has. And he's been doing a great job doing that all season. It just sucks that Lamar Jackson, it was that last play. They were down. They scored a touchdown. It was 27-25, which that's how the Bills won. Lamar had the chance to do a 2-point conversion, throws it to Andrews, and it slips out of his hand. And that was their chance to tie the game, possibly go over overtime. They're going to do an outside kick. And obviously the Bills recovered it. It's just like... The thing is, too, like, the Ravens, a lot of turnovers were made in this game, and that's going to cost you the game. Turnovers are going to cost you the game, especially when the stakes are very high. And I just feel like the Bills capitalize on that. And Josh Allen, Josh Allen is killing him. And he just scored 2 touchdowns in the end zone. He's hungry to get the Super Bowl. And I'm excited to see what he does against the Chiefs. And here's the thing, though. This is the third time they're going to face the Chiefs in the playoffs, either Divisional or AFC championship game. We know Josh Allen is 0-2 against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. This is the game that Josh Allen has to show up. He has to show up. He beat the Baltimore Ravens, but at the same time, it wasn't... Like, he can't play like the way he played against the Ravens. He can't play like that against the Chiefs because it's going to cost him. Especially because they're going to Kansas City and Arrowhead. So he needs to be locked in. All the players need to be locked in. If they really want to beat the Chiefs and go to the Super Bowl, this is the best chance they have right now. As far as the Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, this is probably the best chance he had. Because Patrick Mahomes is still going to be around. Josh Allen is going to still be around. And let's not even talk about the AFC North Division. Joe Burrow if they re-sign, which they're definitely going to re-sign DeMar Chase and T. Higgins, hopefully. Joe Burrow's coming next season. The Cincinnati Bengals. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, whatever decision they make with Mike Tomlin, they're going to get better too. So Lamar Jackson, this was his best shot to go all the way. Or go to the AFC Championship and face Mahomes. If he would have lost to Mahomes, then, there would have been more criticism. I don't think it's his fault. I don't think it's anybody's fault. I just think the Bills just capitalized on the mistakes. That's it. And they won this game. But yeah, there we have it, guys. So we have next Sunday, we got the Commanders and the Eagles in the NFC Championship, and we got the Bills and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. Those games are going to be really good. To all my football fans that listen to this podcast, comment below what you guys thought of the games, either on the Spotify or the IG. And yeah. All right, moving on to UFC 311 from Los Angeles, California, the new stadium. Good night of fights, I think. But let's talk about the main cards. Kicking off the main card, we had Kevin Holland versus Reinier de Ridder. So this fight, this is my first time seeing Reinier de Ridder fight. I'm not going to sit here and say I have seen him fight before, because I haven't. And it's the first time I've seen him fight Kevin Holland. I've seen Kevin Holland fight numerous of times, so I know what he brings to the table. This fight right here is in the middleweight division. Well, let me see. In the middleweight division? Yeah, in the middleweight division. And we have a new contender. Ryder is submitted Kevin Holland in the first round. Made a statement. And look, Kevin Holland has been submitted by Hamza Chimaev in the first round. But that's Hamza Chimaev. He's already established. This guy is a new contender fighting from Holland. And if you make a statement like that in the middleweight division, which I honestly believe the middleweight division right now is probably one of the most competitive divisions, you got to win a fight to be in that conversation. And this guy, I think he already put himself in this conversation, because not a lot of guys can do that to Kevin Holland. And he did that to Kevin Holland in the first round. I'm excited to see who this guy fights next. I'm definitely keeping tabs on who he is. I'm definitely going to look at his previous fights. But this guy is really good. And if he did that to Kevin Holland, I'm excited how he does when he matches up with the top 10, top 5, or even top 15. Be a lookout for this guy. Moving on to the next, and for Kevin Holland, what's next? Kevin Holland, we'll see what's next for him. I mean, that's a tough loss for him. And, obviously being from Southern California, losing in his hometown state is a little rough. It's a little rough losing when you have that home field advantage, which I don't consider a home field advantage as far as MMA goes. I feel like fighters don't see that as advantage for them. So we'll see what happens there. All right, moving on to the next fight. This was in the heavyweight division. Jalta Almeida versus Sergey Spakovic. So this fight ended in the first round. Almeida won by TKO, but he almost got finished in this fight. We know that Almeida had issues in the past when he fought Curtis Blades and he lost, and a lot of people thought he was going to beat Curtis Blades. Almeida, good win for him, but he has to be very careful because, Sergey had moments in that fight and he could have finished it. And we know Sergey, he no scrub, he beat Derek Lewis. Yeah, Almeida also beat Derek Lewis, but he beat Bamban Tuivasa. So, Sergey no scrub. I know he has come up short against Cyril Gane and other fighters, but he's dangerous too. So Almeida, good win for him, but at the same time, this is a fight where he's going to look back and say, I got to avoid doing these mistakes because it can cost me in the future. All right, moving on to the next fight. This is in the light heavyweight division. Former UFC champions themselves, Yuri Prochazka versus Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. This fight, it came down to who's going to bring out the dog out of who. Who's going to go in there and try to break someone's will. I said this before in my previous episode. I said if Yuri starts slow, it could be a bad night for him. Because Yuri tends to start slow in the first round. And it cost him against Pereira. It almost cost him against Glover Teixeira and Alexander Radic. So I'm just like, but against Radic and Glover, he won those fights. But the thing is about Yuri Prochazka, he is the type of guy that he's willing to put himself in that fire to come out unscathed. He's willing to take those risks because he gets better in the later rounds. And I was like, you don't want to do that when you're facing someone that has the power that Jamal Hill has, because we know Jamal Hill has that one-hit power and it's good night. But Yuri did really good in the first round. He kind of I feel like he threw off Jamal Hill because they were not expecting Yuri to, measure him. And he dropped Jamal Hill. I'm like, oh, okay. Going into the second round, Jamal Hill had more success than Yuri did, slightly. But, Yuri was still there. Going into the third round, Jamal Hill and Yuri, they kind of they already knew, okay, this is what he brings, this is what I bring. Yuri was locked in. He's all yeah, I'm gonna try to finish this guy. And Yuri found the opening, found the finish, and finished Jamal Hill by TKO. And obviously we know that Yuri shaved his head and donated that hair to a girl that was going through chemo cancer, and that's awesome that he did that. And Yuri, he finished Jamal Hill. Am I shocked that he finished Jamal Hill? No, I mean, I'm not. Yuri is the type of guy that if you're not focused, if you're not locked in, he's gonna sense that like a samurai. He's about the samurai life. He's gonna notice that about you, and he's gonna capitalize. And I feel like, not to throw any shade at Jamal Hill, so don't come at me, but I feel like Jamal Hill, I think he was focused on Yuri, but I feel like he still in the back of his head was thinking about Alex Pereira. And I'm just like, bro, you gotta focus on Yuri, because if you don't focus on Yuri, the possibilities of you having a bad night are very high. And Yuri, what did they ask Yuri when he beat Jamal Hill? He pretty much said that he wants to fight Pereira for the third time. And I, for the record, have said that I think if there's anybody that can beat Pereira in this division, is him. Yes, he lost 2 fights already to Pereira, but anything's possible in MMA. Anything's possible. And I'm excited to see what's oh, by the way, UFC 313. Alex Pereira versus Ankalaev is booked. Finally, the main event for UFC 313. We also have co-main event. I think it's the co-main event. I'm going to just say it's the co-main event. It might change as far as the months goes. Justin the Highlight Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. That's going to be a good one in the lightweight division. So I'm excited to see those fights. And yeah, but Yuri Prochazka wins. What's next for him? I feel like Yuri should fight Khalil Roundtree. I don't think Yuri should get a title shot right away. I think he should fight Khalil Roundtree. If he does to Khalil Roundtree what he did to Jamal Hill, then maybe we can have that conversation. What's next for Jamal Hill? I think Jamal Hill just got to pick himself up and just one fight at a time and go from there. And just focus on winning. All right, moving on to the next fight. This was for the UFC Bantamweight champion. The champion, Merab Dvalishvili, the machine, versus #1 contender, Umar Nurmagomedov. This fight right here, I said it in my previous episodes and I'll continue to say it. It came down to which fighter was better at what discipline, was better at what department, was better at what, strength, what pros and cons. I feel like Merab shocked a lot of people. Because the first round, I think Umar, kept it standing, did a good job. And I think Umar had the better chance standing up. And if it goes to the ground, I was like, oh. Second round, I got to see this fight again. But the second round was so hard to judge. I think I was with some group of friends and I was telling them while watching this fight, I was like, I won't be shocked if they give the second round to Merab. Because Merab looked like he had a lot of control in that fight. And Umar was trying to take him down, and it was not easy. I think the third round, Umar kept it standing, and I think he did a good job that it remained standing. Because I think Umar had the upper hand standing. And fourth and fifth round, Merab just showed why he's the champion. And his takedown defense, his takedowns, Merab is just like, this is wrestling for me. Because, it was a lot of, like, back and forth about, like, Dagestan wrestling. Merab's like, I'll show you my wrestling's better. It was a lot of back and forth. And Merab, Umar tried to take him down. Merab goes like this, like, and then we saw the same thing he did against Sean O'Malley. Umar throws a kick, Merab goes. And it's just like, Merab is just operating in a different level right now. Merab, he's a good, physically he's always focused. But when he's mentally focused, I don't think nobody can beat Merab in this division. I think Umar had the skill set, has the wrestling, but I feel like Merab's wrestling is better. I think he had the upper hand in the striking. But I feel like with Merab, if you don't have the condition, which I'm not saying that Umar doesn't have the condition, I think he does. But I think Merab's condition is like 1,000 plus. This guy does not get tired. This guy is in your face. He's gonna, like I said it in my previous episode, when he beat Sean O'Malley, he's gonna suffocate you and he's gonna make you believe that you can beat him at his own game, and then he's gonna make you realize that you cannot beat him at his own game. And I think Merab is just operating at a different level right now. And I said it again, and I said it before, and I'll say it again. Good luck. Good luck for anybody that thinks they can beat this guy. Because, man, I just feel like this guy's going to be a champion for a while. Unless Umar does the adjustment, which I'm pretty sure he will. He will do the adjustments with Khabib and Javier Mendez and all of them. And, yeah, I feel like Merab really felt that his wrestling is better than Umar, and I think he proved that in this fight. And I also said Merab had the better resume. Merab beat Peter Yan. Merab beat Sean O'Malley. Merab beat Jose Aldo. Merab beat Henry Cejudo, 4 former champions of the UFC. Umar only beat Corey Sandhagen, a former #1 contender for the interim title. So the resume spoke louder too, and I feel like people kind of wanted to ignore that because Umar is related to Khabib. And no knock on that. I mean, Umar is good, and I'm not taking anything away from him. But people get carried away because his last name is Nurmagomedov, and they think, oh, he is Khabib. No, Khabib is Khabib. Umar is Umar. Islam is Islam. They're all different fighters. They all train together, but doesn't mean they're the same person. And I think Merab, this is, he made everybody know, if you didn't believe on me now, you're gonna start believing in me. If you didn't believe in me back then, you're gonna start believing in me right now. This guy's a machine. Literally. If you see that video where he's like, he jumps in the pool, in the Las Vegas pool, and he's literally swimming. This guy's not human. His cardio is out of this roof. And yeah, what's next for Merab? I don't know. Good luck to whoever faces him. That's all I know. What's next for Umar? Go back to the drawing board and get better. That's the first loss that he had. He was 18-0. And you either get better from this loss or you get worse. I think he's gonna get better. So yeah. All right, moving on to the main event. And this was for the UFC lightweight champion, the pound for pound best fighter in the world, Islam Makhachev versus Renato Moicano, Money Moicano. Okay, yes, he was scheduled to fight Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan hurt himself, hurt his back, and it was a bummer because a lot of people wanted to see that fight, including myself. But yeah, Islam, he said, I'm pound for pound best fighter in the world. I'm here to fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. Islam made quick work of Renato Moicano, submitted him in the first round. The same submission he did to Dustin Poirier. Obviously he submitted Poirier in the 5th, but he submitted Renato Moicano in the first round. Am I shocked? No. Not taking anything away from Renato Moicano. He's a good fighter, but Islam was already preparing for Arman. but he adjusted quickly to Renato Moicano. That's how good Islam is. Islam, like the same thing I said about Merab. Good luck anybody taking this belt from him. This guy is pound for pound best fighter in the world. He's the first ever UFC lightweight champion to defend a belt 4 times. That's history. No one has done it 4 times. Everybody has done it at least 3 times. BJ Penn, Khabib. There's never been a champion that's done it 4 times. And Islam Makhachev is just going to get better and better. Dana White already said Arman Sarouk is not going to get the next title shot. I think Arman Sarouk probably needs to recover and not overtrain himself, because I think that's probably what he did. Who's going to face Islam Makhachev? I think it's probably going to be Charles Oliveira. I think Charles Oliveira is going to get another title shot. I know Islam said in the press conference, I'm not retiring from the sport until I become double champion. So I know he wants to go up weight in the welterweight division. I say Islam fight Charles Oliveira, fight one more time, and then probably go up weight. I like Charles Oliveira, huge fan of his. I don't see Charles beating Islam personally. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, and I like the fact that I'm wrong when it comes to the sport of MMA and when it comes to any sport. But the way Islam's fighting, and I said this about Merab, and I said this about the football games. I'm going to be saying this a lot. Islam is operating in a different level too. And I think Islam, Dana White they asked him, who's pound for pound best fighter in the world? Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev. Good luck to anybody trying to beat this guy. I think Islam, he's just so good, man. He's good. The pound for pound list, he's pound for pound best fighter in the world. Right now, 2025, I don't see anybody beating him right now. And it's tough for me to say that because, I mean, there's a lot of skill in the lightweight division. But you look at Islam is just levels ahead right now of everyone. I mean, I can say some people are slightly close to him, but not catching up yet. And Islam Makhachev, he made quick work of Renato Moicano. As far as Renato Moicano, gotta give him props. He was scheduled to fight Daniil Darush, and obviously he picked, gotta give the guy props. I know sometimes when he gets on that mic, it's probably not the best thing he should do, but he's a fighter, and he's going to fight whoever they put in front of him. And that's something that a lot of people respect when it comes to the sport of MMA. When you have guys like Renato Moicano that said, I'm going to fight him, he's going to fight him. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. When it comes to Islam Makhachev, you have to have a full training camp, a 3-month full training camp. And yes, Renato Moicano had a 3-month training camp, but he was preparing for Daniil Darush, not for Islam Makhachev. And the same thing went with Bobby Green and Alexander Volkanovski in the second fight. You have to have a 3-month training camp. But hey, these guys are fighters. I'm not. I'm just, a fighter is going to say, let's fight. Even if it's 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 day, 3 hours, let's fight. That's the mentality you got to have if you want to be a world champion in the UFC or in MMA or in any sport. And Islam continues to dominate, and I'm excited to see who he fights next. All right, that's my take on UFC post UFC 311. Anybody that went to that event, you're so lucky. That stadium looks absolutely beautiful. Hopefully one day I go to that event, an event of either UFC or WWE. Huge shout out to Ricky Chavez. His crew were out there in LA, in Southern California, watching the fights. So huge shout out to him. Saturday night main event. WWE is next week. So far they have Jey Uso is going to face Gunter for the heavyweight title. Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. I think there's more. They're going to do a face-off between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. Those guys are going to face each other at the Royal Rumble. Shawn Michaels is going to be like the middleman. The Royal Rumble in 2 weeks. I'm excited for that. I can't wait. The Royal Rumble is going to be awesome. Indianapolis, Indiana. Maybe I'll be there. Who knows? But yeah, that's all I have going in today. Covered the divisional games for AFC, NFC, and UFC 311. Next week, I'll talk about AFC, NFC championship games, and we're also going to talk about Saturday night main event for WWE. I think there's, with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning to today's episode here at TWT Talks with Tito. As always, I am Tino Madrano. I'll see you guys in the next episode. And just a friendly reminder, we drop episodes every week, so stay tuned every week. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.